Tonight's a very exciting evening, and it's right up our alley. That's Daniel and I, because we are already using AI in limited ways, and we're looking forward to using it even more. But particularly to listen to what uh, our good friend Faraz Izhar is going to tell us this evening. Let me tell you a little bit about Faraz. He is an accomplished architectural lighting designer with a diverse experience spanning across almost 2 decades. Faraz heads a specialty lighting department at AE7 in Dubai, a multidisciplinary consultancy. He's led and contributed to a diverse portfolio of prestigious projects across hospitality, mixed use developments, cultural landmarks, and urban landscapes. His expertise lies in crafting innovative, sustainable, and future ready solutions, seamlessly integrating light with architecture while prioritizing lighting quality, minimal light pollution, and human centric design. Firaz's contributions to the field have been widely recognized, with multiple regional and international awards celebrating his work. He is also a thought leader and advocate for qualitative lighting design, frequently engaging in seminars, webinars, industry publications, and global collaborations. His contributions to spreading awareness through public speaking, articles, and active participation in local and international lighting communities, as he's doing with us this evening, have solidified his position as an influential voice in the industry. Beyond practice, he is passionate about the intersection of generative AI and architectural lighting, actively exploring how emerging AI driven tools can revolutionize concept development, visualization, and the future of lighting design. He brings a deep understanding of both traditional and cutting edge lighting design methodologies. And I really, truly urge you to follow him, look at his Instagram address, and see his AI workflows. You can find that at www.instagram.com/Faraz Izhar forward slash. So, without further ado, let me again welcome you to the webinar. And most important, I would like to thank our partners. We work very closely with the virtual lighting design community, VLDC, and we encourage you, all of you, to join this inspired group of lighting professionals from around the world. Faraz, we look forward to you presenting this evening. Thank you very much, and we'll move on to your presentation, if we may.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Philip. First of all, congratulations on the latest accreditation. It's really a remarkable achievement for BHA. And secondly, thank you for inviting me on this platform to speak about my thoughts, to show briefly what my workflows are. And before we dive in, just wanted to say that this session is not just about chasing any shiny tools. It's more about clarity. It's more about making our lighting stories visible, believable, and buildable. Now, we are going to move from atmosphere to atmosphere, from atmosphere to sequence, from sketches to the document, from a private hunch to a shared conviction. And if you're here to amplify the human in lighting, your sensitivity, your ethics, and your authorship, all of you are in the right room, and very warm welcome. By the end of this, you will leave with a repeatable approach, sort of exploring an emotionally refined responsibility and carry the intent into the hard reality of calculations, coordination, and codes, just so the night that you imagine can it hold up in the real world. So a bit about my background. To me, lighting is more than just an illumination. Like most of you, I treat light as a narrative, and in practice, that means that I am thinking in sections. I'm thinking in parts: arrival, pause, reveal, and rest. The AI fits here because it kind of accelerates that articulation. And instead of telling the people what dusk will feel like, we show them. But the moral center stays the same. Does this light belong here? So my objective in a way tonight is simple. Use the power of AI to shorten the distance between a felt intention and a credible, buildable concept. We will keep our standards high. We'll keep the standards of the comfort, safety, ecology codes in place while moving faster towards the design that truly belongs to the place. So essentially, the outcome is the work that feels right to the body, reads well to the eye, and passes the all the metrics. Now, just to set the context, this moment that we are in. AI has moved from novelty to daily practice. There has been a drastic shift in the last year. The tools have just not got clever, they have got useful. And for lighting designers, that matters a lot because our work sits where emotion and technical precision meet. The three realities that are in front of us right now is that first, the tools now play a role from concept boards to the client ready packages. Production is the moment a tool stops being sort of a demo and starts saving you a day. And it means fewer dead ends. It means fewer purgatories and far more substantive iterations. Second is the lighting's own complexity, the narrative plus the metrics. This makes it a natural fit. Lighting is basically the art of gentle contradictions, which are poetic, which are precise. And of course, we care about the legibility, we care about the safety, the glare, the maintenance issues, energy, backlight, uplight glare, etc. We want a space to feel like a memory that you didn't know you had. So our question remains: does the light belong here? And AI won't answer that for us. What it gives us is a range, the ability to try a calm version, a bolder version, a version with a different emotional rhythm, and then choose the one that serves people the best. Lastly, AI maps cleanly across the pipelines, the right from the start, right from the ideation, the pre-visualization, the documentation, and to the delivery. So these phases are sort of accelerated without lowering the bar. In a way, we are shifting the conversations from adjectives to experience moments, which make decisions faster and better. So that the power of AI reduces that friction at each step, at each link. It turns metaphors into frames, the frames into short sequences, and the sequences into a language that you can translate into clean documents and into a language that your team can stand on. In all the honesty, images and short clips are just the expressions. They are not the design. We still carry everything into calculations, the coordination, the specs, the codes, the buildability, and we stay in loop as authors. So that's the discipline that keeps our work true and keeps our work human. Now, we'll talk shortly about the emergence and the adaptation. Over the past 18 months, the toolkit, sort of 18 to 20 months, the toolkit has matured exponentially, I would say. Uh, I would say that it has produced broadly four collaborators on your team, and I'm sure that many of you who are attending this webinar are already quite, practicing it in quite an advanced way. So the four collaborators are, first of all, is the image generation for exploring the mood, the hierarchy quickly. Second is still related to the visuals, but it's more of image editing for surgical lighting refinements that respect the original composition, that respect the original renders that you have. And the third is the short form motion to reveal order, to reveal the pacing, and to reveal the breadth of a lighting scheme. And fourth are the most, I would say the important part, very important part, the text-based assistance to draft the narratives, the method statements, and luminaire schedules. These tools sort of feel like teammates now, and there is this generator that gives you a range of images for early exploration. There is this intelligent editor that lets you refine without wrecking the architecture, like you've been doing it with Photoshop, but only quicker now. And then, of course, the video storyteller for pacing and for the reveal, and the text assistants that keep momentum alive in documentation. Our job is basically to sequence them all in order and sequence them well. We learn where each shines by the end of this presentation, and we learn where the humans must take over. Now, coming to the first assistant, where we use the visual use cases, the storytelling, where it all starts, where basically we use the narratives that form in our minds to build up a story, to craft a story, to craft a metaphor for our story. You start with a metaphor that names the feeling. Could be a quiet welcome, could be a breathing horizon, ceremonial hush. Generate distinct moods while keeping the metaphorical theme steady, just so the variable is light. And then pairing each mood with maybe just short sentence stories for the client to see on the slide. When the client sees it, when he responds to each mood, the frame, the sentence, when the language and image they lock together, the consensus arrives sooner. And in my experience, the most effective tool for this kind of early visual rehearsal is Midjourney. Still, it tops the chart with its versatile parameters like omni reference and the style reference. It continues to stand out, and with its ability to capture the atmosphere and the emotional tone with quite a remarkable depth. But having said that, it's not the only option now, because there are several emerging models that are equally worth exploring, each offering its own interpretation of light, each offering its own interpretation of material and mood. The goal here is not to pick a favorite, but to find the right one that aligns with your design language, with your workflow, and with your intent. The second part in this visual storytelling is the intelligent image editing. Now, here is where it kind of gets surgical. Now, during the early storyboarding with visuals, conventionally, we have painted the light quite a lot with Photoshop while preserving the architecture. We have long done that with the layer masks, airbrushes, dodge and burn, meticulous retouching, so we could show those lighting ideas honestly. It works, and it still works always, but it's time hungry, quite time hungry. So this new tool from the Google toolkit called Nano Banana, it brings that precision into a text-guided workflow. It keeps that promise, but kind of accelerates it. you can think of it as a Photoshop on Nitro, Photoshop supercharged for lighting sketches. You can say the things like keep the architecture untouched, shift to dusk, add a warm grays here, add a subtle angle here, slightly deepen the ambient shadows, and it respects the structure, it respects the image integrity while reshaping the light. We still have to use Photoshop for refinement and finishing touches. That particular craft is not going anywhere for sure, but the time to reach clarity is dramatically reduced. The next step is the pre-visualization, the dynamic transitions, the image to video. Uh, Before I explain about the slide, let's watch a short sequence over here. Philip, please play the video. Oh, Philip, can we go back to the present to the slide? Yeah. Yeah. So this short sequence was just a very early storyboarding sort of a time lapse sequence showing the facade activation, the layers of light on the facade. It's simple, and it kind of conveys the intent, because here lighting to me is sort of a, and to the most of us in fact, it's sort of a choreography, a rhythm, timing, and balance. The light entering and exiting. When we create short, honest clips, we are not, these are basically not marketing films. We are just creating honest conversation tools that let us show the order and the pace, and the base layers settling in, the graces that awaken, the accents that speak softly, and then go to rest. Now, keeping these moments are kept simple. It exposures are natural, and the reveals are legible, because when you see these sequences move, the truth emerges right on the onset. The weak ideas reveal themselves, and too loud, too busy, or simply unnecessary comes out in the front, and it can be totally eradicated right at the onset. So that's the gift of these particular tools. It helps us edit early and not on site. It allows us to arrive at a composition that's kind to the eye, that's balanced to the mind, and that's true to the intent. It might not be the perfect simulation. It's not perfect for sure, but it gives everyone, all the stakeholders, ourselves, and the collaborators, a shared vision of what the night could feel like. Now, following this is basically just quick case study that I have put in here for one of the projects that is ongoing in our studio. So the metaphor here was celestial pearls, tiny points of white sparkle, like the sky mirrored in the water. We explored two options under the stars and the celestial patterns. The first option kind of lent onto the twinkle and hush, and the second was a little bit more graphic and rhythmic. Showing both was sort of a calibration. Both help the client feel the spectrum, the calm wonder on one end, and sort of a measured celebration on the other. And AI here did not write the story, it helped us speak it sooner. That moved us from things like making it brighter to making it truer. Continuing on the explorations on the next steps, you see the journey, the concept boards, the mood images, sort of a storyboarded night walk. The real win wasn't just the speed, it was the coherence. Every image, every motion, and every word, it kind of resonated with the same melody. When the clients can point to the same feeling across all media, the trust enhances and the revisions drop. This is where I would say that the restraint it becomes visible. Coming to the non-visual use cases here, uh, now more often than not, momentum often fades away the moment we hit documentation. Right when the ideas are at the brightest, the energy kind of starts to slow. Now that's where our four virtual assistants step in. They keep the rhythm alive. You can actually train them. Some of you have already been working with it, I know, and quite successfully. You can train them, you can teach them your vocabulary, you can teach them your tone, you can teach your branding language, the particular nuances that your studio follows, and in time, they start speaking your dialect of design. They are sort of a super efficient colleague who quietly handles the repetitive and the detail heavy work that often drain your creative focus. The formatting, the cross checks, the small but endless iterations, the paper cuts that you get, and it gives you back the time to design, the time to think, and to light with intent. You can train them for small concept narratives, client-friendly paragraphs that articulate your intent without any technical jargon. You can train them for creating your luminary schedules, automating your luminary schedules, upload simple manufacturer data sheets, and then you could get at the end is your proper schedule, multiple pages formatted as per your studio standard schedule drafts. Then you can also use it while creating mockup, while participating in the mockups. You can create mockup method statement. You can standardize a template, and it automatically creates every mockup scenario for you. You can use them for compliance checks. There are some very bright guys, very bright young guys in my office and my team who are building these agents up, which are scanning the schedules and narratives for the dark sky compliance, the code checks, the including everything, the applied limits, the bug metrics, the CCT caps, the spill sensitive receptors. They are actually not replacing our expertise. These agents, they are here to protect it. What they are doing essentially is they are giving you very clean drafts that you can refine with judgment. And here is a quick example of our schedule data extractor in action. David, can you please, can you
Faraz,
please
can I
go to
ask you a question before we continue? Uh,
yeah.
looking at all these, I've already
Mhm.
started experiencing the benefit using some of the AIs like ChatGPT, uh, Microsoft Copilot, uh,
Yes.
and also in our accounting, there's also JAX in the accounting package
Right.
that we use, which is very useful because you can ask it what are the outstanding uh, clients, and it will give you a
Right.
list. All right, and you can even get it as far as sending out emails to
Wow.
chase them up for payment. So it's
Okay,
very
that's
useful,
great. Yeah.
and I can see exactly how it can fit in even to greater extent. Thank you very much for what you're telling us and revealing.
Thank you.
But here's
Thanks for
your video.
yeah.
Sorry, next one.
The next one. So this really shows the simple process of, and I have taken the most complex scenario here. I have taken a data sheet which has multiple parameters, multiple options all in one, including the beam angles, optics, drive currents, LED engines, finishes. So We take this into our GPT agent, the Luminaire schedule extractor, and then it builds how it builds up the table that we need and how it takes us to our standard format. Here it goes to the agent, starts reading it. It lists all the options, it asks for your final selections. This is again a case where you've got multiple options on a single datasheet. Now it generates the table, your final parameters contained on your linear schedule. Now here you need one manual step, and we are trying to eliminate that step as well. Single click copy paste into your schedule, and everything falls in place automatically. And you can do multiple PDFs which can be uploaded to produce the full project spec at one go. Right now, we are testing the limits of ChatGPT to read the images so that the images also fall in place. So yeah, so that was a little bit of preview for you, and we are in continuous, we are continuously testing these agents. uh, I've got a very bright colleague who continuously keeps testing these agents to produce new solutions. We are testing a Luminaire control schedule at the moment, extractor at the moment. Again, basically testing the visual capacities of ChatGPT to read the drawings, to read the loops on the drawings, and then convert it from there to the Luminaire control schedule. Philip, can we get back to the
Okay, you
presentation?
ready?
Yes, thank you. So moving ahead, this is how the typical workflow looks like at our studio with our lighting team. So the process is sort of a loop. It's not a line. Basically, explore, phrase, show, sequence, and then discuss. So the full journey walk looks like this. You start with the ideation. You explore 3 to 5 truly distinct moods anchored to the architectural reality of the project that you're starting with. Then comes the narrative development. Uh, You write your short paragraphs per option, name the hero surface, and name the things that you want to keep quiet. And then you start on the mood boarding, compare the options side by side, including, usually our strategy is that we include one restrained version next to an energetic version, so just so that glare and the pollution and the fatigue become visible. Then comes the pre-visualization, just a short sequence like the example that you saw in a couple of in the few slides before. And then finally, the client communication. You pair the sequence with the paragraph and a couple of stills, and then ask, where does your eye go first, and is that where you want it to go? Questions like these, and just build a narrative, and this further sort of develops into the critical requirements, where you have to take care of the things, these typical things, the intent that you have chosen. You have to carry it to the buildability, to the calculation tools, to the further coordination for the next stages, to the detail specs and the code checks. So again, like I have mentioned it before, the expressive images are not the design. The design ultimately is something that passes the reality check, and something that keeps the designer in loop at all the times. We'll touch a little bit on the popular tools of the trade at the moment. They matter, of course, but more than the tools, the fit matters most. What you want is a clean lane from mood to motion to words to documentation. So you have to choose for stability, you have to choose for handoff efficiency, and how much time efficient your team becomes. So you have to choose wisely and choose as per what fits you best. And we will touch on this topic, that how to choose your tool, in the coming slides. So these are the some of the tools that form this new age tech stack of the team at AE7. For those who are yet to explore this realm, I would say start with choosing one pillar each from these categories, which you see on the slide. One image pillar, one motion partner, and one document assistant. You need to build it in order to kind of stay coherent. You have to build a personal library of prompts and references that reflect your studio's taste. That talks about your brand, talks about what your design philosophy stands for. Keep a no-go list beside it, the things that you won't use, the color temperatures that are no-go, the areas that you avoid, the materials that you don't want to be flattened. And the key is consistency. When every concept leaves your studio with the recognizable signature, the calm hierarchy, the kind contrast, the respectful shadows, that's when the client begin to trust your taste. That's when the client, start to believe in your capabilities, not just your output. You can also opt for some integrated platforms that bundle many models all together, and also add some more elements to not to just the image models and the image and the video models. They add some other elements such as upscaling, sound, dubbing, etc., in one place, which things which you won't even require, but anyways you will burn your credits only for the things that you would require. So those platforms are not a bad idea, and some of them are the popular ones are Kriya, Freepik, and Hicksfield. Very important part, an extremely important part of this whole conversation, the ethics and the guardrails, the things that keep us professional, the things that keep us, we we have to tread this path with huge responsibility. We have to keep ourselves professional. We have to set these limits clearly before we land the plane. And continuing on the topic, we know that AI is a creative assistant. It's not a designer. Images and clips, they are just explorations. They are not stamped documents. Every concept must pass the the reality checks, the eliminance, glare checks, energy tech checks, the maintainability, the controls feasibility. And one thing that is happening quite a lot now, and one thing that everybody who's using these tools, one thing that you need to do is that you have to be aware of the aesthetic homogenization, the sea of styles that's out there that erases the unique identity. And for that, you have to start from building your intent node, something which you can follow as a standard in each of your project, each of your iteration. It could be about your palette, it could be about your contrast philosophy, the CCT brands, no-go zones, and of course, the very important thing in all this is to be transparent with your clients about the AI assisted elements. And last but not the least, protect the sky, keep it sacred, because darkness, of course, it's part of the composition. So the negative spaces in any composition matter, the dark skies in every composition matter. So yeah, I mean, that's something which you don't want to compromise on. And just a practical reminder here, just be aware of the tool bloat. Don't get overwhelmed with all these the social media and all these platforms are full of these claims that there is a new tool which says that Photoshop is dead. Sometimes a new tool drops in which says that PowerPoint is dead. You just don't worry about that. You don't have to worry about the tool bloat. The best setup isn't the flashiest, it's the one that keeps the handoffs clean, the collaboration smooth, and most importantly, your focus where it belongs, on light, on people, and on the meaning. We'll talk about some of the recent breakthroughs and just a quick look at the recent happenings in this space and why it matters in particular to the practice. So, with these next generation of tools, for example, Midjourney, Nana Banana, Sora, Kling, and the others, we are seeing something extraordinary, of course. The breakthroughs are not just in the quality, but in the speed as well, in control, and also in the seamless handoffs between the creative and the technical worlds. So, in still imagery, we can now explore a genuine emotional range. We can then refine it precisely. We can, uh, without losing any geometry, without losing any original composition of the image, without losing the material truth. With the language-based precision, it's now saving hours while keeping the architecture intact. And in motion, the behavior of flight is feeling more natural, it's feeling more believable, and it's feeling more human. It's helping us present these sequences that breathe, that tell a story, and that let stakeholders react to the experience and not just the render. Uh, in all of these recent developments, there is a platform which I'm watching very closely, and in fact, the team has started working on it. It's a platform called Vivi, and it's sort of like an intuitive parametric architecture, sort of a multinodal interface. It's beginning to bring these worlds all together in one space. So you've got all the tools in one place, plus you've got the multimodal capabilities, which gives you a very nice platform and a very nice workspace to explore your images, to explore your narratives, and to build them further. So, on the horizon, we are seeing quite a powerful movement towards the Open USD standardization. That is sort of a unified scene standards or a framework which is designed to connect the AI driven visual content with directly with the BIM and the IFC data. When that happens, that's going to be a huge revolution, of course. What that means for us is basically the much smoother translation between the language of light that you create when you start with these tools and the language of the codes and the construction buildability. So as these systems are converging, our roles as designers, it does not it's not shrinking. It it's getting empowered. We are becoming the curators of meaning. We are our task is defining intent. Our task is to guide the machine, and our task is to ensure that what feels magical in vision still will hold integrity when it meets the reality. Now, there are some takeaways that we can talk about before we wrap up. There are four small practices that sort of make a big difference, a huge difference. First, you have to start small and you have to stay focused. You can master one image tool, one motion tool. Do not chase the quantity. Chase the flow. And when your handoffs feel smooth, When the creative and the technical move as one, that's when you expand. Secondly, you have to communicate the clarity, not the technology. The clients, they do not buy acronyms. The clients buy confidence. So you need to show them mood. You need to show them the sequence and the whys behind your choices. You have to let them feel the light before you talk about the limit. And third, always bridge to the validation. Every expressive idea must meet its mirror in reality. The ideas must meet its mirror in reality. The code checks, the compliances, the energy metrics, and the effort. Let that bridge be clearly visible, because that's the bridge that earns trust and respect. That's when people know that you're not just talking about pretty pictures. You're talking about practicality. You're talking about buildability. You are validating each and every aspect with each and every step. If the story is clear, the numbers are sound, and the sky still feels like the sky, that's when we have done our job. Now, there are some people who would be interested in some recipes. There are some prompt structures that I have included here that keep the outputs aligned to the professional lighting framework. So this is an just an example of Midjourney V7 prompt, which you can use either in the draft mode for quick iterations, or in the normal mode if you want to prepare more realistic and more detailed and more enhanced images. So when you're writing the prompts, you have to think like a film director of light. You have to describe the space type. You have to describe the time of the day. You have to tell the machine about your intended CCT bands, the accent ranges, and most importantly, you have to get in the emotion there in your prompt in one simple line. Then it's good that you add your guardrails, tell the system what not to touch. That balance between the creative freedom and the clear boundaries is that's what gives you a little bit of an atmospheric range. And then when you need when you need the speed, you can always use the drafts mode for rapid iterations. It's quite good for fantastic quick atmospheric sketches, and these are quite fast enough to explore and also refined to inspire. You have to go to the next step. You can start using it in the normal mode, which is a little bit slow, but of course it gives you better outputs. This is an example of the latest entry. The not the latest entry, I would say. Everything is changing so fast. Uh, Google's Nano Banana dropped a couple of weeks ago. We know that, and it is kind of evolving very fast. That's the thing where you kind of I term it I name it as supercharged Photoshop, because that's what it does. It keeps your original image intact and it paints with the light. Maybe later you would still need to use the Photoshop, but if you are giving this tool both discipline and direction, you are pairing every lighting instruction with a preservation rule. And here, preservation might read: keep the architecture completely untouched, keep all the textures exactly as they are, do not change any objects, preserve every finish. And then there comes the lighting note. Introduce a warm grazing on this particular wall. Introduce these concealed linear sources. Deepen the ambient shadows. Slighten lightly along the circulation. And keep all sources invisible. So this sort of two-part structure trains the system to shape the light responsibly, to explore the mood and the contrast while safeguarding the original identity of the space. And of course, we will finally step into the advanced rendering softwares or Photoshop for that final artisan touch. But the human hand, because of course the human hand always has the last word, but we are reaching that stage faster and with fewer masks, with lesser friction and far more creative energy that that is left for the things that really matter: the composition, the hierarchy, and the emotion. I'm not sure how much time is left, but I before I end, I would like to speak a bit on this, that AI is not a replacement. Everybody who is new into this realm, that's the first question that they have. And I would still keep on iterating that it is not a replacement. It is just a new lens. It lets us see possibilities faster. It lets us test the ideas more freely. It lets us share our intent more clearly. But at the heart of the design, there is a human, and there will always be a human. The human remains there deeply. We are and we will always be the custodians of comfort. We will always be the custodians of legibility and wonder. And I would always want to say that let's use these tools wisely. Just keep the light shining for possibility, for progress, and for each other. I might have finished quickly, but I think this is okay, right? I mean, I think the speed was maintained, and yes. Lastly, definitely my thanks, heartfelt thanks to the BHA School of Lighting, to Phil, to Dan, and to VLDC for this opportunity, and for this opportunity to to speak about my perspectives, to speak about my experiences, my workflows, my team's workflows on this respected platform. And to everyone who has joined in, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.